Are driverless cars going to be taken over by the end of 2019? Well, Elon Musk says by that time, driverless cars will be 100 to 200% safer than human drivers. Check it out. Be sure to subscribe and press alert to get new notifications of new success secrets made available on VFN TV. Driverless cars, who would have ever thought? I mean, even teaching your children to drive, right?
Oh, yes.
And they're a human being.
Yes.
And they have, your ideas, they've ridden with you for a while. Can you imagine getting in a car in New York and being driven? It might be safer than the cab.
I don't know. We've had some interesting
You remember the cab? We got in the cab. We were going to watch, go to Fox News to be able to watch something.
Get there quickly.
Yeah, and they're going the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And they knew that, and we discovered it when we saw Denver.
and the meter kept going up.
We made it just in time. We walked into Fox News. They're going like, "Who are these country bumpkins?" Right? But you're looking at driverless cars. Elon Musk is talking about, and he's the one that just sending rockets up. The president just had Elon Musk's rockets on his table during a cabinet gathering. And he's talking about, and he's doing a great job of delivering payloads into space, and satellites are launching they're paying to use the NASA launch areas and Houston launch areas,
Which is unheard of. This is countries only sent rockets and things into space.
Right.
This is a private company that's doing this.
And so this is somebody that knows what they're talking about. And what he's saying is by the end of 2019, which is next year.
Moments away,
at the end of it, that everybody that thinks they're going to get a driver's license is not going to get one. Just a joke in here. But think about this, that they're going to have driverless cars. He says they're going to be 100 to 200% safer, John. Safer than human drivers. And you're thinking like, oh my goodness, how can you turn down safety? That's always for your safety, right? But he's saying, this thing is going to be dominant in 18 months at the end of 2019. As a matter of fact, this is Elon Musk being interviewed, and this is the question that he's being asked about driverless cars and what he thinks about it.
I think probably by end of next year, self-driving will encompass essentially all modes of driving and be at least 100 to 200% safer than a person by the end of next year. We're talking like maybe 18 months from now.
By the end of next year.
Yeah.
And so,
well, people don't get that innovation is here. This is not a future thing. It's a now thing.
What'd you call it? You call it a train, some kind of train? Freight
trains.
Freight train.
Yeah, it's steamrolling.
Trains, you just can't stop trains.
Yeah.
And we're seeing how the prophetic fulfillment, what's going to take place. How in the world when, Revelation chapter 12 or 13 says that there's going to be a beast economy created by some demonic influence of some particular, metropolis somewhere, and that you're not going to be able to buy or sell without that taking place. Well, that's happening right now. I mean, whoever used your credit card, your debit card, or your Apple Pay, or all these different things, they're tracking all that.
They know where the dot is. It reminds me of what the Prime Minister Netanyahu just spoke at APAC, and he said about in 2006, what led was the energy companies, one tech company.
Correct.
And 10 years later, it's completely flipped, and what's leading is all innovative companies, the Googles, the Apple, all these social media, Facebook, and one energy company. It used to be that Exxon and GE were the leading companies in the world. They're ranked way below everyone else. Mm-hmm. It's changed. It's a different society.
Yeah, and everybody made everything about fuel, but the truth is, it's technology today. And
that's where the wealth is.
The top 10, out of the top 10, 5 of them were the technology companies. This is like Amazon and Alphabet or Google and
Facebook, Apple, of course,
Netflix, or things something like. Anyway, it's happening right now where we're speaking, and you just can't stop this thing from going forward. We want to hear from you in regards to what are you thinking about this. I mean, we can't buy or sell. That's happening, but the thing about it is this: that God's called us to go into the world, not to hide from it, and to be light in the midst even of darkness, to be able to tell people that God loves them, God has a plan for their life. This is something very important. So many people are trying to protect their life, John. And God's called us to lay our lives down. He said, imitate me. And so we're to lay our lives down for our neighbor, for a person, for a nation.
Right.
And so if in this where we're going, you're not going to be able to do that anyway. And so you just want to be as vocal as you can and be as loving and kind as you can and let people know that God loves them and God's got a plan for their life. And we have a lot of you signing up from all around the world for, an abiding plan. Jesus says in John chapter 15 that you can't accomplish anything outside of abiding with him. Listen, this is so important. You're in some very interesting days. And he says in the book of Revelation that you're going to need wisdom. Well, when you abide with God, when you abide with him and spend time with him, he'll tell you. He'll just put an impression on you. He'll lead you. He'll direct you. You don't want to do anything without abiding with him. And a lot of people want to abide, John, but they just don't have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have a free plan for you. It's at iabide.org. That's iabide.org. You go there, you request your plan, and no matter where you are in the world, it'll come to you instantly in your email. You just heard about not AI and
yes.
technology and globalization and all this. Banking as we know it,
yes.
it's already changing. People are like taking pictures of their checks, they're depositing, they're actually going to a bank itself. But everything is about to flip. I know the Lord told me this very specifically. He showed it to me in a vision that all the paper money on the earth, all was just literally being sucked up like there was a vacuum in heaven, and it was just flapping out from behind everything, and it was just going up. It looked like a mountain, John, but it was actually money being sucked up, and all of a sudden it just caught on fire, and it was just burning paper money. And it's like, it's amazing that God's letting us know what's happening. Now we're seeing this Bitcoin, all this different stuff happening.
Cryptocurrencies.
But banking as we know it is changing. As a matter of fact, the author of Augmented, John, what did he say?
Well, actually, we have a quote from him. He says, this is Brett King. He says, in financial technology, you have thousands of startups coming in and disrupting the distribution and the experience. And it's just not possible for banks to survive this transition.
And so banking as you know it. I want to encourage you, if you work at a bank, work hard, get promoted, because what you want to do is learn how to work with technology. You don't be the person saying, I don't like these computers. It's like, you got to learn how to work with technology, because you're still going to need somebody to push the buttons and somebody to be able to do the ledger on this thing and these different type of things. So we want to encourage you with that, be inspired and understand that this is a moment that the economy's shifting, everything it is shifting. There's people that haven't bothered to educate themselves in this shift, and your responsibility is to shift well and bring them over, into the shift, because it's all switching as you know. It's amazing how quickly and rapidly. 2019 driverless cars. Banking is changing. Only in America is it slowed down, because other third world countries have been doing banking on their phones, since it started.
Yeah, I believe Japan's doing cryptocurrency now.
Yeah, wow.
Amazing.
Be sure to subscribe and press alert to get new notifications of new success secrets made available on VFN TV. A lot of people want to abide with the Lord, but they just don't have a plan to do it. You can request that plan today at iabide.org. I'm your host, Greg Lancaster, and we're so glad that you've joined us. Don't forget you can join us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download our app and sign up for our newsletter, The Torch, at vfntv.com. I've enjoyed our time together. God bless.